Hello, my name is Agisec and I'm 22. I'm from the planet Erasmus and I live in the city of freedom of expression. My skin colors are yellow and blue, the colors of my planet. In this web series, we find out what people on Earth are doing to promote human rights and dialogue between cultures. This web series is being produced as part of an Erasmus Plus sport partnership in collaboration with CEIPES in Palermo, Sicily, and the PESAC associations represented by USSAP, Section Box, and Couleurs du DEBA. The project is funded by the European Union. However, the views and opinions expressed are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect those of the European Union or the European Executive Agency for Education and Culture, EACEA. Neither the European Union nor the EACEA can be held responsible for them. Today marks an important milestone in the project as it is the final episode of our Agisec web series. We will therefore discover the closing events held in France and Italy. Let's start with Sicily, where our partner CEIPES held its event during Erasmus Days 2025. But to celebrate the end of these 2 years of adventure, CEIPES took us on a retrospective journey full of memories, local workshops, shared moments, and highly motivated participants. And of course, we cannot forget our incredible European encounters: Bordeaux during the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games, then Palermo in April 2025 under the Italian sun. The CEIPES team played a key role throughout the project, contributing their commitment and skills. Our exchanges strengthened European cooperation and gave even more meaning to this wonderful collective adventure. A huge congratulations to the entire CEIPES team for their wonderful energy, and a special dedication to Chiara. We headed to Bordeaux, France, where the event was celebrated in true Bordeaux style: original, committed, and super inspiring. Couleurs du DEBA pulled out all the stops by organizing an entire day dedicated to the fight against all forms of discrimination. The morning was filled with debates and presentations of the work of the participants in the Indica project, which stands for Inclusion, Diversity, and Active Citizenship. The Cypriots from the partner association called Stando came especially to present the actions they have carried out over the past year in their country. In the afternoon, after the presentation of the game, the Inclusion Olympics, it was time for action. The young people from the Agisec project took the lead and led passionate debates on a subject that affects us all: discrimination in sport. First of all, let's remember that this debate on discrimination in sport was Yannick and Jonathan's Agisec project. Unfortunately, at the last minute, Yannick had to leave to be with his family. Jonathan had moderated the previous debate on discrimination based on ethnic origin, so Michael and Karim moderated the discussion. They interviewed Gaëtan Galland from Sport Athlétique Mérignac, as well as Maëlie Vigneux and Claire Bartou from the Gironde Departmental Olympic and Sports Committee.
Sport Athlétique Mérignac is a large sports club. It is currently the largest sports club. It is the largest in the south of France. Until 2014, we boasted about being the best, doing great things, being the largest club, etc. Then, in 2014, we realized that nothing was being done for people with disabilities and vulnerable groups within the club, which claimed to be the best. So we said, we're going to respond to these demands, and we're going to create a social cohesion service. Since 2014, we have had a department that offers sports to all people who are distant from sports.
There are 3 main branches at SAM Social Cohesion. One branch is mainly for people with health issues, and we focus on adapted physical activity or health-related sports. Another branch is for people who are in the process of socio-professional integration, and then we have a branch for disabled sports or adapted sports for people with physical, motor, sensory or mental disabilities. We offer a variety of activities, including adapted weight training, boitia, which is one of Sam Cohesion Social's flagship activities, basking, which is open to both able-bodied and disabled people, precision sports, shooting, and adapted physical activity for people with health issues. We offer a fairly wide range of activities. Hello ladies! You both work for the Gironde Departmental Olympic and Sports Committee, CDOS. Could you explain what the CDOS is and what your roles involve?
The Gironde Departmental Olympic and Sports Committee is the departmental branch of the French National Olympic and Sports Committee. Our daily work is to promote sport for all at the level of Gironde clubs. So, our point of contact is the departmental committee, which represents Olympic and non-Olympic disciplines, even though the word Olympic is in our name. We have 3 development officers, each with their own specialized tasks. I work on equality in sport, combating discrimination and civic services.
I'm involved in combating all forms of violence in sport. With regard to sexual violence against elite athletes, it is important to note that during the Olympic Games in Paris, more than 200 of the 620 French athletes who competed were victims of sexual violence. And to emphasize the issue, for people with disabilities, the figures are 3 times higher. This is because they are vulnerable people, and what's more, they are less likely to be believed when they talk about it. People with disabilities are therefore much more affected by sexual violence than able-bodied people, and yet we talk about it very little or not at all. If you are a victim of violence, whether it be sexual violence, psychological violence, verbal violence, physical violence, cyberbullying, or any other form of violence, you can talk about it to me.
To me.
To me.
To me.
To me. To me.
To me.
To me. To me.
To me. Violence can occur within the family, in a relationship, at work, at school, and even in your sports activities. You are not alone. Don't be ashamed. It is important to talk about it. For more information, visit the website of our Gironde Departmental Olympic and Sports Committee.
As part of her mission, Claire works to ensure that sport is not only accessible but also egalitarian for girls, boys, women, men, and all audiences. She carries out various types of actions on themes such as sport and equality and the fight against discrimination. She also raises public awareness of the impact of the menstrual cycle on sports, as she did at this event at the Palais des Sports in Bordeaux. These actions are not simply technical measures, but a real lever, sport as a vehicle for emancipation, equality, and social cohesion. Now let's take a look at Michael's Agisec project. It's a report on disabled sports. To see the full interviews, visit our YouTube channels. In this report, Michael met with several people with disabilities to learn about their sporting journeys, the challenges they face, and the advice they would like to share. Let's listen to the advice of Norfol, a sports instructor.
So at first they didn't want to accept me because of my disability. And they told me I wouldn't be able to get the degree because it was too physically demanding. So I didn't listen to what people around me were saying and just followed my instincts. And it worked out. Today, I'm doing what I love. I love my job. Taking care of children, that's it.
Celine, a handy boxing coach, shares her experience with us.
Parents are right to be surprised that I am a wheelchair user who practices and teaches wheelchair boxing. All the young people I coach are happy with the training they do. In any case, that's the feedback I get when I ask the parents directly. The message to convey is that if you want to do something, you can do it. You just have to give yourself the means to do so.
Yannick is an archery athlete and coach.
So yes, I do coach two types of people, mainly people with disabilities, but also able-bodied people. The difficulty as a coach is mainly explaining things, because there are some things I can't physically demonstrate due to my condition. So I have to explain verbally in as much detail as possible, so that the able-bodied person, who will have to do what I ask them to do, understands what I expect of them. Whereas with people with disabilities, it's easier to explain things to them. Since the disability is already there, it's easier for them to understand me, and for me to understand them. The message I want to convey is quite simple. Whether you are able-bodied or disabled, as long as you're able to think and speak, you can be a coach.
To conclude this summary, let's now hear from Karim, who plays wheelchair soccer.
I arrived at the Institute for Motor Education at the age of 11. Before that, when I was in elementary school, I was only with able-bodied children, so I played sports with able-bodied children. I didn't really encounter any difficulties, but rather a lot of positive things. People are much more supportive than you might think. What does playing soccer bring me? Self-confidence, for sure. If I had one message to convey, it would be to say, no matter what your disability is, keep persevering and playing sports. Sports are life.
Congratulations to Michael for this report. Congratulations to Delala from the Couleurs du DEBA Association for her support and guidance throughout the project. Finally, a big thank you to the European Union and the Erasmus Sport program for co-financing the project. So, you've watched the 9th and final episode of the Agisec web series. These 2 years of adventure dedicated to inclusion, sport, and intercultural dialogue have enabled progress to be made in terms of human rights and given participants the opportunity to develop their skills. Well done, everyone. I'm going back to my Erasmus planet, and don't forget that an inclusive society that respects diversity is built every day, here and now.